With the selection of a jury in the Sean Diddy Combs case almost complete, prosecutors are preparing for opening arguments on Monday, but they admit there's a snag. One of their key witnesses against the rapper appears to have gone missing. This comes as we learn that Combs' ex-girlfriend, who was seen on video being assaulted by the rapper, is pregnant.
Diddy's trial is about to begin, but complications are already unfolding before it even starts. One of the key witnesses, referred to as Victim 3, has reportedly gone missing. Prosecutors have been unable to locate her and haven't had any contact, which poses a serious challenge. The disappearance of
Combs' trial backing out, victim number 3, as she's called, was set to testify against the music mogul. The name of victim number 3 was going to be revealed when she took the stand, but the woman has apparently gone missing, and prosecutors say they've been unable to reach her.
People just get nervous, and this person could just be nervous and just has had second thoughts.
If the prosecutor can't find this witness, how might it affect the case?
Look, I don't think it's going to have a tremendous effect. The prosecution is going to call a number of alleged victims. So look, this is just one less.
Someone else is also getting cold feet. A juror sent an email to the judge asking to be removed.
A lawyer observing the case explained that losing a key witness like this can seriously complicate efforts to prove Diddy's guilt. He noted that in high-profile public trials, some individuals simply decide they no longer want to be involved. Still, he believes prosecutors might be able to move forward, provided they aren't relying solely on her testimony. Another attorney added that when a witness fails to appear, it puts significant pressure on the case, especially when only a few victims are willing to testify despite numerous lawsuits and allegations.
These testimonies are going to be extremely important. Building a case against someone as high profile as Diddy is not an easy job. So I'm going to bring in former FBI agent Bobby Chacon to talk more about this. So off the bat, Bobby, how do you build a case against a celebrity as well-resourced and powerful as Diddy?
Well, it takes a lot, Sylvia, as you know, because the allegations in this case range from like 2004 to 2024. So this is going on for 20 years, and they're finally getting around to charging him now and trying now. That's because it's so difficult to get people who are not afraid to come forward. This person was powerful, they were rich, they had a lot of influence, they were allegedly violent. So all of those things add up to making it very difficult for investigators to get people to talk to them about these. You add in the fact that many of these things are embarrassing, of a sexual nature, they're private, they take place behind closed doors, and that adds to the reticence of witnesses coming forward and talking about these things. And so investigators have to do a lot of long, hard work in getting these witnesses to trust them, number one, to make sure they feel like they are being treated, not as a pawn in a game to get Diddy, but as people that really care, that the prosecution cares about these people. And so you bring in victim witness people who are trained really and have the background in talking to people who are maybe victims of alleged sexual violence. And so you bring in specialists that kind of can talk to people like that and get them to open up about these things and to trust the investigators and trust the prosecutors, that they're just not going to be thrust into a situation. You have to get them to trust you so that if someone does make a threat, even if it's veiled, people can do that on social media now. They can say things that are kind of a little bit wonky sometimes, or, these veiled threats. So if the witnesses that you're developing are comfortable enough with you, they will bring those threats to you, or those situations where they might feel threatened. You always have, on the federal level, we have the Witness Protection Program, right, which is one run by the U.S. Marshal Service. That's kind of a very extreme step, because that's somebody, you change their identity, you move them to another part of the country, they're not allowed any contact with previous people in their lives. So it's the Witness Protection Program is one of the more extreme steps that you take. But there are other steps you can take to, ensure the witness that they're not going to be subject to that. If anyone does make a statement that's even considered something like that, you send a team to go out and investigate and to question that person and to get them to maybe make a retraction or to kind of back off a little bit. So you do have to do a good job at making sure the witnesses are comfortable that if anything should happen that they feel uncomfortable about, they bring it to you, and then you have to address it in the ways that are available.
Diddy is facing serious charges, with the government alleging that he operated a criminal enterprise through his businesses, including Bad Boy Entertainment. According to prosecutors, he used threats, firearms, and various forms of abuse, emotional, physical, and sexual, to maintain control and get what he wanted. The original indictment also warned that he posed a risk to those who testified against him, and authorities now claim he has continued.
Well, I mean, on the surface, if the prosecutor's claims are true, this seems like pretty much textbook witness tampering, right? I mean, it appears to be an effort to either, in some cases, intimidate witnesses from testifying against him, or there have been other reports of sort of inducing people to make statements in his defense. There was some allegation that in one instance this was a statement that he, in essence, dictated or drafted with a woman who made a statement that was attempting to rebut one of the accusers, I believe, in a civil case against him. I mean, witness tampering is bad. The things that Sean Combs is accused of are terrible. He pleads his innocence. The justice system will presumably work its way through.
It is likely that there is some underlying truth to at least some of the allegations. There might be a lot of underlying truth to a lot of the allegations. There's probably some bandwagoning going on. We spoke to an attorney who's for one of the victims of alleged victims of Diddy a few weeks ago. I believe Amber Nomiki and I did. And they said they had calls, they had information, they had people, hundreds of them, come forward. They're not going to represent all of them. They're, which ones have evidence that can be compelling, what are the best cases to bring that. I also saw a story in the New York Post, this is from a week ago, about Diddy stuff that I wanted to read the headline of. Woman claims she saw minors dressed as Harajuku Barbies at Sean Diddy Combs' freak-off parties, that he was describing there to Conan some years ago. Said these were sex-fueled parties with what she initially thought were little people dressed as Japanese Barbies. And she said, this is her talking to TMZ, are those midgets? And she actually thinks they were kids dressed up and sexy.
Oh, good.
So again, that's just from someone who provided this information to TMZ for a documentary, but pretty disgusting.
It is. No, that's...
Diddy is facing additional charges, including racketeering and transporting individuals for the purpose of prostitution. If convicted, he could face a minimum of 15 years in prison and potentially a life sentence. Diddy has maintained his innocence. Even before opening statements began, the trial experienced delays during jury selection, as some potential jurors were hesitant to be involved in such a high-profile and intense case. The judge emphasized the importance of proceeding carefully to ensure that...
I think you want somebody who wants to serve, someone eager to serve, because that suggests that person might be inclined toward a celebrity like Diddy. I would also, in this case, I would want men, not because men support abuse, but I could see this being very difficult for women jurors. I would want younger jurors as well. I don't know that older jurors would be good for him.
Do you care where they get their news? Do you care if they go on social media?
I wouldn't care so much about social media. Certainly watching you on Law and Crime would be a real problem. But no, I wouldn't care too much. I mean, in fact, if they were reading the celebrity media, TMZ, Rolling Stone, that might be an encouraging thing for Diddy's counsel.
Now, Ben, according to the court today, they expect preemptory challenges on Friday.
Meanwhile, Diddy's defense team is expected to argue that some of his past relationships weren't entirely one-sided, suggesting that both parties sometimes contributed to the conflict. However, legal experts warn this could be a risky strategy. They point out that mutual dysfunction doesn't negate the serious nature of the accusations. What truly matters is the power dynamic, whether Diddy used his fame, wealth, and influence to control others. If he did, that remains a major...
I wasn't willing to do what was expected of me. Not talent-wise, but in other areas. It's difficult when you're that young to understand your worth as a woman through the men that I was around, and that was very traumatic. I don't think any of us have healed from that. Diddy would be like, you're not hot anymore, like what happened? You don't have anything, like you don't have any curves. you're looking like you're not looking like, I can't get people to think that you're my good looking person. And there was no Me Too at that time. There was no protecting anyone at that time. You signed a million NDAs and a million contracts that took away all your rights.
Gandiel later revealed disturbing details about Diddy's intentions for her music group, claiming that he planned to exploit them by
And I know you ain't signing. I know you ain't signing an NDA, clearly. But did Diddy make his artists sign NDAs and people that work for him?
Well, a lot of these rappers, a lot of these industry people, anybody who does business nowadays with the internet, they have NDAs, non-disclosure. That means that if you work for them, you around them, you can't disclose any of the information about them. It's the same thing that he gave to all his artists when he gave them their publishing back. I'm gonna give y'all publishing, but y'all can't talk about Janice Combs, Justin Combs, Sony, Bad Boy, or anything that happened. Y'all can't talk about none of that. But there's some artists that didn't say anything, that didn't sign it, and they able to talk about anything they want to. And I think that's those girls that were, I think Danny became. I think a couple of them didn't sign it. And boy, oh boy, they probably gonna go after him too. Cause I heard him, and I'm giving you this, Aubrey. He stood up there and he said in front of a lot of people, we were in the studio, and I said something to him and walked out the studio. He said, yo, I'm gonna drug their ass out and pick them up and pimp them out to my nigga. He said, I'm gonna drug them out. I'm gonna get them all on drugs, and I'm gonna pimp their ass out to my nigga. I was like, if somebody kids, and walked out. And it's somebody that hurt me. It's somebody that hurt me. I mean, well, it's not only somebody that hurt me, it's somebody that I know who was in the studio at the time that happened, and I still talk to him today. And we were just talking about that the other day. He done moved back to Indiana. I don't know why. I'm gonna give you that one. He said he was gonna drug them all out and pimp them out.
Jurors typically react poorly when the defense tries to paint the victim as equally at fault, and that strategy can easily backfire. Part of Diddy's legal approach may involve downplaying a video showing him in a physical altercation with his ex-girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, in a hotel, framing it as a private dispute rather than evidence of a larger criminal pattern. Cassie, who is currently pregnant, is expected to testify under her real name, unlike most other victims who remain anonymous. Some legal experts believe her pregnancy could make her appear more sympathetic to the jury, and her smaller stature might undermine any claims by the defense that she shared equal responsibility for the violence. Diddy has pleaded not guilty to all charges and continues to deny every allegation. Notably, according to Gandiel, he has refused all plea deal offers so far.
Is that he need to take his counsel advice. Because if he think he's going to get out of this from the federal government, he out his mind. They in the process of plea bargaining, trying to do a plea bargaining session with him, and he not taking it. That's probably why one of the lawyers jumped off the case. Remember Benjamin Bradford, his first lawyer with the Cassie situation? He said, give her the $10 million and make this go away, brother. He ended up giving up $30 million. He's not taking the lawyer's advice. 9 times out of 10, they probably got him a good plea bargain. Yo, listen to me. We can give you 15 years. 10 or 15 years. You do that, you come out, you only have to do like 12, 13. Come out to a halfway house. You still can live some of your life out as a free man. You don't want to hear it. So it is what it is. The federal government do not want to go to court. 9 times out of 10, they want a plea bargain with you. You understand? You accept the plea, you accept the time, you go ahead, you save the government money, you save them time and effort and manpower. If you don't believe that that white guy was a plant, then something is wrong with you. He'd have sold them enough drugs, but they haven't hit him with that charge. They haven't hit him with that charge yet. Or that we know of. If you don't believe that they're going to try to hit him with those guns in there, they saving all that for last. The drugs, the guns. They'll do another superseding indictment and add those two up. If you don't take the plea, if you don't take the plea bargain to the sex trafficking or whatever, stuff like that, they're going to say, okay, let's add the guns to it. Let's add the drugs to it.
How you feel about Keefe D? He out here crying to come home.
Keefe D, I think is a mistravesty of justice that Keefe D is still in jail without a bail, or they're not making his bail low enough for him to go home. For the fact of the matter is that Keefe D was told to say something by an LAPD officer who was writing a book, doing a movie, and making himself rich off of an event that happened in our culture. And that he's in jail because the cops said a lot of these things first.